Shalom everyone from Jerusalem. This is Mahaleya and my new friend David. There's been a lot that has been going on, isn't it right?
Yes, it's a lot. A lot going on.
A whole lot going on. First, I would like to thank all of you for all of your emails, all of your calls, all of your concern about us here in Israel. Everyone in the world should know, at least by now, that Israel is in a state of unofficial war.
Yes.
Rockets are flying in all over Israel. We had one the other day in the city that I'm living in, and I was sitting at an open cafe eating pizza, and I was almost trampled by the people that would, that heard the siren. It's just like back in the, when the Nazis were invading, and you hear the siren and you run for the bomb shelters. That's what's going on right now. Now, this time you weren't here back in the day, but all of the old Hebrews that from back in the day, we experienced gas masks and everything.
Wow. And
we had what you call safe rooms, and you would have to tape up, you would have to designate a room, and that room would be the room where all of the food, you had buckets for for toilets, right. And we had dried fruit, candles, everything, just, because we had no idea how long we might have to stay in that safe room.
Wow.
And the brothers that were out patrolling, because a few had to go out and patrol, they had these body suits and they were plastic and they looked like spacemen. But we had to wear gas masks, and the babies had tents. They were tents for the infants, and you had to put it together, and you placed the baby inside, and all of this was a precaution because at the time they said that there was going to be poisonous gas that was going to be used.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could only imagine.
It was really, really something. So this is really kind of lightweight compared to what we, the old saints or the old Hebrews are used to. Right. So when the people started to rush towards the buildings, towards safety, I just sat there and I continued to eat my pizza.
Everybody's in a panic. You're calm, calm and collected.
Well, maybe they don't have. They don't serve the God that I serve. Maybe that's why.
That definitely plays a big part.
Anyway, there's a lot going on, and I just wanted to thank you all because I have received so many calls, so many emails, and I just want to say that we are fine. This is nothing new for me. This is new for David because he's here visiting, and one of the reasons I wanted him to be in this video is because I wanted him to share his experience as someone that is new to Israel, just here for a visit. David, just give us a little background about yourself and let us know, what is your impression of Israel? I mean, you can get to the war part, but just overall impression, the people, the food, your first impressions, it being a military state and the things that have happened since you've been here. How long have you been here? Just a few weeks, right?
It's going on about 2.5 months.
Okay.
Or 2.5 months going on.
Okay.
First and foremost, if I may, give all praises to the God of Israel. And I want to say shalom to Israel in the four corners. And give a small background on myself. I've been traveling the world for the past 2 to 3 years. I've spent 2 years in Cairo, Egypt. And it was a lot of civil unrest going on there as well. So I'm kind of calm and collective while everyone else is in a panic, I noticed. As far as the sirens, I've been here in the biblical Jerusalem, what they call Arad. I haven't heard any sirens. I haven't seen any bombs flying anywhere. Everybody is, it's like it's almost not even, nothing's going on here that's significant. But when you turn the news on and you look at the other cities round about, it's panic and chaos. But I could describe it as a very, very memorable experience here, and for Arad to be one of the places in Israel that it's the best place for me. It's quiet, it's peaceful, the people are loving, you know, it's beautiful, it's clean. I drink water out of the faucet, something I would never do in Cairo, I would never do in America. It's just an amazing place to be, even in this perilous times. This is definitely a place that I would recommend for any Hebrew worldwide, or anyone of any background, to come and visit. You have to, you know. Okay,
I have to ask. You hear so much about Israelis, you know. What's your first impression of Israelis? How do you like the food, and what are some of your other first impressions?
I would say the Israelis are Israelis. I mean, they have their thing wrapped up together tight, and they keep it to themselves. And you know, some of them say hi to you on the streets, a lot of them don't. But you know, it's no biggie. Israelis, they pretty much have a busy schedule. Helicopters. At this point right now, as you can hear the helicopters, they're getting ready to kick off some serious old issues that they haven't really settled yet. But as for this place, it's like I said before, it's very peaceful, it's very quiet. The food is excellent. I've been eating a falafel and
I was gonna ask
the Turkish shawarma. I love shawarma in Cairo, so I came here. It's only natural. I just keep the shawarma addiction going. You know, I can get me a nice glass of wine or a beer just about anywhere. So it definitely feels like home. And when I say home, kind of Western, kind of American. You know, it's really? It's like a small town outside of Los Angeles. You know, it's clean, like Orange County. You know, it's quiet, not much crime. Matter of fact, not much crime at all. You know, it's very
scenic.
Very.
Now, what about? Have you seen any homeless people?
No, I haven't. The people who I would assume to be homeless, they're not homeless. They got a place to go. They just kind of hang out in the city area and maybe carry themselves like a homeless. But everyone has somewhere to go. Everyone has a place to call their own. So there is no homeless population that I know of.
You know, David, one of the first things that I noticed when I came to Israel, and I don't know if you noticed this, but we have a huge population of elderly people.
Right.
And they are out and they are walking. They're not shut in and put away. They are a vital part of the Israel society. Right. You know, and there's one man in the city, and he's close to 100 years old, and you'll see him jogging around the city, and you would never have any idea of how old he is. But that's one thing you notice. There's so many things about Israel that are so unique. I think I said in another video that Israel has every type of geographical terrain that you could imagine. You know, there is area that is swamp-like. There's area that is forested, lots of trees, beautiful green, lush. And then they have the Dead Sea, which is the lowest point on earth. You know, they have desert, and mountains with snow. It's amazing. So have you had a chance to do any traveling, or have you just been basically in the Negev, which is the south?
Yes, I've basically been in the Negev. I came through the Alat border from Egypt, and I traveled to Beersheba a couple times, and Arad. I haven't really got a chance to. I've been to Dimona as well a couple times, and I must say the Negev, I haven't been up to the modern Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, but the Negev, hey, it's home.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's truly amazing.
Okay, now one of the things that I wanted you to do was, I get so many emails and so many calls, and so many people want to know about Zion. Okay, and you particularly came up and wanted to see. Many people are coming here now because they want to visit and partake and pray at what the Hebrew Israelites refer to as Zion, or the Israelis refer to as Tel Arad. Okay, so now this is a particular site. It's an archaeological site that is being developed, and our brother Hoshua, whom many of you have seen in previous videos, he has stated that this is actually this is actually Zion.
Yes, this is the
and so that's the reason why so many people are coming. And might I say that it's not just Hebrew Israelites, but there are many people from all over the world that are coming. So can you talk a little bit about the brother Hoshua, because he's very eccentric, and I know you had an opportunity to take a tour with him, because he's so gracious. You know, anyone that comes to Israel, he's more than happy to take you on a tour of Tel Arad. He makes himself available, you know, and at any moment you might see him with one of his donkeys, his children, his beautiful wife, you know, and he makes himself available to the people that have journeyed up and sojourned to Zion. So tell us a little bit about your experience.
If I may, first, I want to read a scripture the elder brother Hoshua it has fulfilled, and he's the only person in the world that has fulfilled this particular scripture, and this is why we call him the watchman. This is Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 6. It says, "For there shall be a day that the watchman upon Mount Ephraim shall cry, Arise ye, let us go up to Zion unto the Lord our God." So the elder brother Hoshua is a very, also a biblical scholar, biblical archaeologist, a tour guide, so many hats, rabbi, imam, minister. And I've basically been learning under his shoulder since I've been in the land, as far as all the geographical sites that are just in the Arad area. I haven't been able to go outside this area yet because there's so much in this area that we've discovered. We've actually discovered, since I've been here, we discovered the Valley of Achor, and the biblical character named Achan from the tribe of Judah, who was stoned after coming out of Jericho for taking some of the clothes and the gold, and he was stoned, and they raised up a heap of stones over his grave. If you're on YouTube or on Google, you can Google a large heap of stones in the modern place that they call En Gedi today. That's actually, according to the scriptures, that's Gilgal, or the Valley of Achor, which is very important according to prophecy. But the brother Hoshua is very adamant about locating the safe places where we're supposed to be, where we're supposed to build, because we're witnessing the return of the lost 12 tribes scattered through North, Central, and South America, West, Central, and Sub-Saharan Africa, as well as the Middle East and Asia. And we're in the days of the return. And we need a place to go. We need a safe place away from the destruction that's going to come, because destruction has to come. But me, myself personally, I was at Zion today. Zion as in the tabernacle of David, the castle, the fortress that he took from the Jebusites. And I was praying for the walls of Zion. I was praying for the tabernacle, for the Most High could raise up the ruins and seal the breaches like he did in the days of old. And I was praying for the children of Zion, which is Benjamin, Judah, and Levi, to return. I also prayed for the gates of Ephraim, the gates of Benjamin, as well as the gates of Judah. And I must say, it's so much.
It is.
There's no way you can cover all of this just within this city alone. You would have to just come back to live in order to cover all of this, because it's so much. I mean, I went by David's sepulcher, King David's sepulcher. I went through the tunnels that Hezekiah formed during the 7th and 8th century BC. I mean, it's vast. Zadok's chamber and Eliashub's chambers, which are all located inside the tabernacle. And this is what proves that this city that we call Arad today is actually part of Jerusalem.
You know what?
You know,
we need to do a video. Just take a tour, because the last videos that I did, we didn't see much of the actual site. So what we need to do is we just need to go out there and film it, so those who can't journey up, at least they can see some of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that sounds fascinating.
Definitely, definitely. For the Lord loveth the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob.
Isn't that something? We are truly, truly blessed to be here in this day and time, you know, because as I said before in so many of my other videos, with the advent of the 4 blood moons, this is one of the most important times in our history.
Yes.
You know, and we are here to witness this. What do you think of that? What do you think it signifies, the 4 blood moons and the return to Zion right now?
Well, there's no greater time ever to be who we are as a nation. There's no greater time to be who we are. For the prophets and the servants of old desired to see this day that we live in. They desired to see the fall of the empires that once ruled the world and enslaved the Israelites in every kingdom, and God didn't allow them to see it, but He allowed us to see it in our time. So this is the greatest time ever to be who we are and where we are and in the time we are.
That's right. Now, that's wonderful. That is wonderful, and it's really too bad that you're not going to be able to, you know, to stay longer. But of course, everybody has things that they have to do, you know. So,
well, if it be His will, hey, I'll go wherever He sends me.
Okay. So, do you have some friends over there in Egypt you want to give a shout out to?
I have hundreds of brothers in Egypt, hundreds of brothers in sub-Saharan Africa, thousands of brothers in America, and I would say tens of 20 brothers in Europe, and a few others in Asia. We all know, we studied this thoroughly over the last few years. Come home. Now is the time. Get your resources together and let's do this thing right, you know. Let's make the correct preparations for our babies, for our wives, for our nation, that we can survive what's coming and we can flourish.
Well, David, you are a biblical scholar. So what say you to those who, I won't say many, but there have been some that have been calling and emailing me, and they're saying, well, Mahaleyah, it's not time. You all are not supposed to be there. What say you to that, to them?
Well, I agree. Before Zion was discovered, before Jerusalem, the biblical Jerusalem was discovered, it wasn't time yet. Because where will we go besides roaming around the desert? You know, where will we go? He told us that He dwelleth in Zion. The Lord dwells in Zion. In Joel chapter 2, chapter 3, in Psalms, the Lord dwelleth in Zion. So before we discovered Zion, our refuge, our protection in the day of the Lord, yeah, it wasn't time. I definitely believe it wasn't time. But now that brothers have been making a transition out of America and out of Europe and out of these places where we were scattered, they're just going everywhere else in the world. And why not come home if you've already left the place you were scattered? What, would you rather be in some other land being oppressed by another people? Or would you at least be content with receiving some form of oppression in your own land amongst your own people with a like mind?
That's very
Because we've already made the transition in my day for the last 5 years. Hundreds of brothers have been leaving America, going abroad to the east, west, north, and south. I'm sure in the 60s, hundreds of people made their transition out, not just coming here, but came to Ghana, came to Liberia, and all these other places. It's definitely, I definitely believe it's time to go home. If it's time to leave your place of captivity, it's time to come home. That's, you know, that's just common sense without me even opening it. I can open the book and I can tear it down. We can go on for hours of scriptures that tell us it's time to come home. But just common sense. If it's time to leave our place of captivity, it's time to come home.
Well, some people aren't going to come because they're afraid. You know, if it's anything like war, they wouldn't want to come.
Right.
You know.
Well, war is one thing about us American babies, especially us born in this new generation, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. We've never lived without war. I was born in, you know, it's been war constantly, at least since I was a child. You know, I've never really seen the world at peace, you know. So war, I think that should be a definite excuse for you to seek your God and seek refuge when there's a war, because that's what the scriptures tell us to do, you know.
Okay.
Like Christ says in Matthew 24:15, he says, when you shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel, do what? Stand in the holy place. Did we know where the holy place was 40 years ago? No, we didn't. We would have been in the modern Jerusalem looking for the holy place. But now that we know, Zion, according to Psalms 24, is the holy place. That's where his eyes are continually for eternity. So now that we see the destruction is being set up, or the New World Order, which we call the abomination of desolation, now we know where to stand. So.
Okay. Spoken like a true scholar. Okay. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to just touch upon a few current events that are taking place here in Israel amongst the Hebrew Israelites. Which I like to refer to as the vanguard. Those that have been here, established themselves, and are helping to prepare the lost tribes to come into the land. Right. You know, there was a season that they experienced, just like in past times, where it was, like you say, the wandering in the wilderness. But now, as I look around, David, it looks like the old bones are rattling, and some of them are shaking up and coming back to life.
Right.
So I would just like to take a moment to give all praise and all honor to someone that has just recently made transition or passed away, and his name was Ben Kael, and we refer to him as Ben Kael Hagibor. Very, very, very well loved in the community, and he truly was a hero in our eyes. And there was a ceremony that was held in Dimona for him, and this is something that is rarely done, and I just have to say that I was very, very pleased to hear about it. You know, I did not attend, but I have to say that I think that this is something that indicates that we're moving in the right direction, where we can honor those that have been cornerstones in this community and in this movement. He was truly loved, and we will truly, truly miss him. And my heart goes out to each and every one of his family members. And just want to say that there was nothing like him. He was a tall brother, and he was a sweet brother, and he was courageous. He was the epitome of so many wonderful, wonderful things. And so I just would not, it would be remiss not to mention him. And so that's a wonderful thing. Now, is there anything else you wanted to say before I get to the very, very special announcement that I had to make?
No, ma'am.
Are you sure?
Stay on.
Okay. Now, you've been working with different members of the community here.
Yes.
And you've been to Dimona, you've been all around, and you've met very many people. And this is what you do when you come up. You sit in the homes, and you eat, and you go into the scriptures, and you just fully partake, and it's a wonderful, beautiful experience. And I have been very, very busy behind the scenes because as you know, and as I've said so many times before, so many people are asking, I want to work there, I want to live there, and I just want to come and make pilgrimage. And so I've been working behind the scenes, and I'm going to be very soon putting up some links so that you can get some of this information that you have been asking for, some official information that you've been asking for, and you can just go there, and if you want to work, there's a way that you do that legally, and these are things that you need to know before you journey up. Now, those that want to just journey up, that's all well and fine if you just want to come to make pilgrimage, but when you want to come to live and you want to come to work, there's a few more steps that you definitely need to know about before you just, come.
Exactly.
Okay? Yes. Because Israel is not the place to just come and just think you're just going to be able to just live. Right. They have very, very strict immigration policies.
Right.
Okay? And this is not just for Hebrews. This is for everyone. I have seen all kinds of people be deported from this land. So I would not advise you to just journey up and expect to stay. Right. Make plans, and as right. I said, we are in the process of trying to assist you in that area.
Yes.
But now the wonderful news that I wanted to share with you is, for the very first time in history, now we've had different writers' conferences here. The community has sponsored writers' conferences and things like that. But next year, we will be sponsoring the very first annual International Hebrew Israelite Conference. This is the very first time that anything like this has ever been done. Mm-hmm. And we are expecting Hebrew Israelites to come up to Zion from all over the world. You are all invited to come up and partake, and this will be such a joyous occasion. Now, details will be forthcoming. There will be a website, there will be a page where you can go and receive current information, and where you can go and register. We're going to try to keep this, the cost down to a minimum, but I want you to know that we are definitely going to, for this first annual conference, we're going to have it here at Zion. Okay? Now, I want to say to all of you, and there are thousands and thousands of you out there, I want to say to you, if you're going to journey up, why not just save your money and come at that time?
Right.
Because this would be a perfect opportunity for you to meet all of the other Hebrew Israelites. Now, what we're doing is, we're doing this because we want you to be able to represent your Hebrew Israelite organization, because there are literally thousands out there.
Millions, actually.
Okay. But I'm just speaking just on organization, millions of Hebrew Israelites, but thousands of organizations all over the world.
Yes.
You know, because some people say, well, you know, Hebrew Israelites are not African, and Hebrew Israelites are not this. But we have actually people that consider themselves Hebrew Israelites that are Caucasian.
Right.
You know, they're the 10
definitely.
tribes. We're talking about the 10 tribes, are we not?
Yeah. As well as the Southern Kingdom. I mean, we're going to have Israelites with some coming out of these nations with blue eyes and blonde hair, and it's going to stun some people, but all nations.
Okay. So, well, it says that we were to be a light unto the world. So whether people are just coming out of interest, or whether they're coming because they actually consider themselves a Hebrew Israelite, you are all welcome. You are more than welcome to come. Okay, now what are we going to be doing? We're going to be networking. You're going to get an opportunity to represent your organization, or represent your family. You will have an opportunity to speak, although we will be having keynote speakers. Okay, and all of that information will be forthcoming. However, if you feel that you have a particular topic and you would like to speak, then you're going to be able to go to the Facebook page where you can submit that information. And I want to say that there is more information that's going to be forthcoming, but the people that come to the conference are going to be probably the first ones that are going to be considered for certain programs that we are going to be initiating.
Right.
So if you can't get here, you're going to be missing out on an opportunity for those that really do want to live and work here. So the conference is going to be a stellar conference. I'm so excited. I don't know what to do. It just makes me tingle all over just to think about it, because we're going to be touring. You know, we're going to have several days of touring. You're going to have a day where you can just relax and go wherever you want. There is so much to see in Israel, from Eilat to, oh my goodness, there's so much. I cannot tell you how much there. I mean, there's well, if you've ever read the Bible, then you know what I'm talking about. So we're going to have like I said, we're going to have speakers. You're going to have an opportunity to meet each other and to also speak. Okay, we are going to have time limits and all of that, but we're going to have food. We're going to have entertainment. This is going to be the best international Hebrew Israelite conference that has ever been ever been what?
Ever been put together, ever been
organized.
You've never seen this. We have been making history. I've only seen it in the last 2-3 months. I'm sure you're a witness of the last almost 50 years of history that's being made here at this land.
Well, it hasn't been 50 for me.
46 years and counting. Some people haven't been here that long, but from the beginning, it's definitely a wonderful time, and we're encouraging all 12 tribes, as well as all nations, come out and be a representative of your people and your tribe and your organization and your faith, because we can all share it. We can all use some of your spirit, especially from the 10 tribes, because we have a lack of representation of the northern 10 tribes. So we're encouraging everyone of all nations, of all faiths, to come.
Now start to save your money. Now you have a whole year to save. Okay, no excuses. Now there is one hotel that will be our particular venue. There's one hotel where most of us will be residing, and that hotel only holds 120 people, because it's not a huge city. So register early. Okay, register early, because you want to be in the hot spot. You don't want to be in a hotel that's 10 miles down the road. You want to be where where the conference itself is held, and where you can gather together and meet and all of that. So please don't delay. Go ahead and register right away. And I would love to have an opportunity to meet as many of you as possible. You're going to have the time of your life. You've never had hospitality like the hospitality that you will be having here at Zion.
Amen. Amen.
Have we treated you good?
Very good. Very good. I'm at home.
Okay. All right. So I'm just trying to think. Is there anything that I'm forgetting?
Nothing I know of.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, you know, we don't want to make the video too long. I want to say thank you to you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. And it's been a minute. You all haven't heard from me, but I've been truly working very hard on your behalf. I love you all so much. With the advent of the 4 blood moons, there is a lot happening, but there is no cause for fear, because if you truly love Yah with all your heart and soul, there's nothing to fear, okay? Because He will sustain you. So go ahead on, make your preparations, because you need to be here so that we can all go to Mount Zion and pray. This is going to change the world, you know. So make your preparations, and most of all, spread the word. This is the first year. You may not be able to make the first year,
Right.
but try to make it. Why? Because you never know what's going to happen. You never know we're aiming for Passover, but you never know what's going to happen, because between this Passover to next, I believe it's Sukkot, within the interim of that year, that is the interim of the 4 blood moons when miracles take place. You know, not just for the Jews, but for the Hebrew Israelites as well. And so, you know, this is history in the making. So, and not to be redundant and not to take too much time, again, love you with the perfect love. Keep those cards and emails coming. And we'll see you in Zion.
Shalom, Israel.
Okay. Peace out.